Morning, guys. One fresh protect dog training and Simba. Come on, Simba. Kushe, who's been in the kennel this morning, going back and forth, tired himself out pretty good. He's panting. A nervous energy. They go back and forth. Quiet. So, good. Yep. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to start breaking in the collar and basically layering in the stim collar to give him a little bit more control over the dog, and a little bit more things you can do with all kinds of application with a stim collar. Yep. Now keep in mind that my biggest premise on this is that it's only as good as the person using it, and I use it more on a low impulse than I do anything else. And every now and then when I need it for certain applications, I might bring it up. But for the most part, it stays at a low impulse, and then a tap, in other words, how we break it up. So when I first start introducing it, we need a three-way turnoff to be able to introduce the collar so he starts to understand what this little tingle is to him, and to give the power to the dog. He starts to learn to turn this stimulation off by responding to something that he already knows, right? We call it a three-way turnoff. The first one that you do is when the dog, excuse me here, is out on his release and he's doing his potty break. He's already got all this stuff in the bag as far as his training, so I can jump to this right away. Remember, I worked the dog when he was a puppy. He's previously trained. He's been about 1.5 years or so ago. And so the dog has all this stuff that he remembers, and I've refreshed it over the last 3 or 4 days and kind of find out where the dog's head's at. And he's in a good spot. He's a little too tired right now. Hey, off of me. Off. Good. I don't allow any of that because it's a dominant. Pretty soon the dog's climbing you, and then you get a problem. So right away when he wants to start hugging me, it's a precursor to full-on going off if you don't watch it, right? He starts to want to dominate you. Now you tell him no, and he starts growling, and boom, he comes back on you. So you got to be careful, especially with a hybrid dog like this, right? So don't even let that get started. Right away, stop it. Let that be a behavior that he's not allowed to do. Get up on your body, crawl in, and people think that it's okay, but this is where the problems come, and not understanding the nature of a dog. For many years, there was a little fable, and they still talk about it now, where they said that Dobermans were not stable because they turned on their owners. Well, why? It's because the owners don't have any education. They don't understand the nature of the dog, and they'll let the dog up on the couch and get off when they're making it, that kind of thing. One day, the dog thinks and gets possessive of that couch. We want to say bed, actually, the bed or whatever. And then they say, get off, and they're upset, and boom, the dog turns around and goes off on them. Well, it's because they've allowed that to happen, and they haven't set up boundaries and expectations in regards to that. I let my dog sleep on my bed all the time, but I also have a command that says off, and when I say off, that dog better damn well off. No, you understand me? Good. Yep. So I have a whole pattern of obedience based around it. Off means off. I even have a command that says get at the end of the bed, and they know they can cuddle with me, and I say get at the end of the bed, boom, they go to the end of the bed, right? There's a definite criteria involved, and I assert we want to say dominance, but it's not. It's just what you expect of that animal, and being very consistent with what you expect, and then they understand that, right? So then you alleviate some problems. And depending on the dog, some dogs, just their nature is such, in your relationship with the dog is what causes the problem. You're not the proper dynamic in your relationship, and people let it go, and all of a sudden they start to get irritated one day, and they're upset, get off the bed, and they're trying to make it or whatever, and boom, the dog goes off on them. It's not the dog's fault. It's the ignorance of the person that doesn't understand the wiring of a dog. He's still an animal, right? No matter what you say, we want to humanize our dogs. We want to make them a robot. We want to do all this stuff and we think that means a dog's not a dog. A dog is a dog. And you get into Mastiff breeds, get into Rottweilers. These breeds are stout, and they're definitely instinctive, and it goes back to the whole thing. You're dealing with an animal. It's not a human. Right? No matter what, things can happen if you don't know what you're doing and you don't stay on top of it. Okay, we're moving the camera because I want to get started on layering in the collar. So the first turnoff is conditioned recall. So remember, I have a conditioned heel that I have where the dog is expected to hit my side. So with me, he's out doing his own thing, and then I'll say with me, and I'll expect the dog to hit my side. So we're going to use that right now, and we're going to try to use the fence line. I'll see if I can set this up where you can watch this. So I am on about, I need to do this first. All right, I skipped a step. We have to figure out what level this dog can feel. So we're going to go back over here. And this gets done in the first few times, and then after you get a feel for where that dog's level is at, you can kind of start, because he's going to get more and more accustomed to the feeling. In the beginning, we don't want him to freak out, so we go through this whole process of making sure that he can feel it and then knowing where that's at. Okay, couche, couche, good. You are see, good boy, I see, good. So what I'm going to try to do, pas bouger, is just hit the button. I'm going to go back down to about a 3. And I'm watching the dog. Let's go ahead and zoom that camera in so you can see this. Pas bouger. I see. I'm going to beat you. I'm going to beat you. Okay, so that's a good spot. Okay, so good boy. I see. Good. That's my boy, pas bouger. Nope, I see. Pas bouger. Good. I see. Good. And I want to try to get relaxed, get neutral, so that he can just be gelling out in his brain. It's not affected by environment. If I have stimulation of sound, movement, all kinds of things that may overshadow, and his brain won't be able to register the feeling. So we're at a 3 right now. I'm going to stand here, go behind my back, totally neutral. On, no reaction. Okay, so I hit the button, no reaction. I'm going to a 4. On, there it is. See how the dog, nope, you all see. You all see. Good boy, good. Yep, good. I'm going to break him, come back at it again, try to get back to that neutral type of a, I want him totally relaxed and totally neutral. I see, so nothing is overshadowing, no sounds, no movement, all that, and then I'm hitting it, and I'm just standing here, just being totally, hey, you easy. Pas bouger. Good. I'm now at a 4. There it is. Now I hit the 4, and you notice him looking down to the ground. He can feel it. It doesn't affect him any. He is so low that it's just like, what the heck's this? And so he's trying to, his brain is going, what is that? He's looking at the ground because they feel like it comes from the ground. I don't know why, but that's the reaction you'll get. On, see it? There it is again. Okay, so we're at a 4. Okay, so that's the level that I'm going to set it. At 3, he didn't give me any reaction at all. So he can feel that on a 4. So now we know what our working level is, what I call it. Now keep in mind the working level is going to change depending on what's going on in your environment, how much water is in his body, all kinds of things. So you want to check when you first start working him for sure, always doing this process. As he gets more and more accustomed to the collar and he knows what it means and he's got a fluency within the lexicon, meaning that what I'm trying to teach him with this feeling that he feels. Remember, there's no tactile with this, meaning I don't have the leash to pull him. Leash pressure, the dogs get used to all this. They get used to being controlled and understand that leash pressure. This is a part of his life every day, and he's had this since he's been a puppy. There's always been some kind of grab the dog by the collar and pull him around and doing things with the dog with a leash pressure is what we call it, okay? That's tactile, right? He can feel that, right? So if I go like this and I go, see what he did, all right? Up. He right away feels that, even if it's really light. I see. With this collar, he can't feel anything except the tingle. He has no communication, no awareness of what's happening based on leash pressure guiding him around, right? Which is part of his life and has been since he's been a baby, right? So because of that, we have to understand that he doesn't understand what's going on with this tingle. We need to teach him to turn off this tingle at a very low pressure. Now, when I go out here to the fence, you're going to see me going to the fence line. Yep, he's moving, he's smelling, he's doing all kinds of things. He may not feel it when it's on a 4. Remember how neutral that position was when we started this, right? It was just on the table. I'm trying to figure out what his working level is. That's your starting point. Once I figure that out, now I'm going to be moving here, and I'm going to try to get the dog to start to show registration of what this collar means. So the first one is going to be my conditioned heel. And all I want the dog to do in the beginning is to, yep, you go free, hon. You go potty? Good boy, good. You go potty. Go on, get. Good boy, good. You go potty, good. We're breaking patterns, so he's a little confused with it. He's not sure what I want him to do. Normally, I put him on the table, we start working. And he's also a little tired and worn out from going back and forth on that fence line. So, so mentally, he was in a different place. Yep, you go free, hon. You go free, hon. Now I'm going to say his name, and then I'm going to turn around the other way, and I'm going to put the button on right when I say his name, and then I'm going to let it go right when he starts responding and coming back to me. And I'm going to try to encourage him to follow through with the behavior. But keep in mind, yep, I don't need him to come all the way back to me. So I don't leave the button on the whole way and let him feel that stress and that pressure from the collar. It's new to him. He has no clue. We're trying to give him an idea of what this means. What does it mean? You were turning it off. I'm giving him the power. Yep, you go free, hon. You go free, hon. Go on, get. He knows something's up because I'm yakking at the screen. I'm doing all this. He's not stupid. You go, yep, And I've got my pouch on, which is usually designating BALLs. I'm going into food with food. His whole brain is in a different mode. I need to get the dog's brain out here going to the bathroom. Yep, you go free, hon. You go free, hon. Go check it out. Yep, good boy, good. That's my boy. You go free, hon. Go on, get. I need him to be sniffing and doing all that. If he won't give me that, I'm going to have to try to set it up another way. Yep, he's not giving it to me now because of what we went through our flow this morning. So you got to try to get the flow to go right. Maybe when he first comes out and he's got to go to the bathroom, he'll be into this, right? So right now, I just want him away from me. You go free, hon. He's Velcro right now. Good boy, good. And I've never used the leash, the collar. Good boy. You go free, hon. Go potties. You go potty. Good boy, good. You go potties. Good. That's what I need. I need the dog's head down on the ground. Good boy. Simba. Good boy, good. There you go, good. Right away when he turned around, you might not have seen it. Yep, you go free, hon. Let me get that spot again. Yep, you go free, hon. Good boy, good. There you go. Yep, we're done. Go on, get. We're done. So let's try it again. So I want to try to give you a good feel for this. And I'm doing a little bit of work with a stim collar. I just had another dog that I was working real heavy with it. He was doing real good. Remember, it's only an extension of a leash is the way I view it. And it's an extension of a leash that gives me a lot more ability and gives me the off-leash ability that I'll need in the environment. So let's do this again. Okay. Yep, come on. Come on, let's go. Nope, with me. Come on. You go free, hon. You go free, hon. Good boy, good. That's my boy, good. You go free, hon. Good. Dog's name. Simba, good boy. And right away, I hit the button right when I say his name or right before it. And then I let it go right when he starts in my direction. He doesn't have to come back my way all the way. All I'm trying to teach him is that he has the power. And I'm going to do 3 of these different types of turnoffs. That one you could consider me calling him into me, right? Then we do one that goes away from me. We do a couple of them. I do one under the table that he's real familiar with. Again, things that he knows and is very familiar with. We're not teaching the dog anything new. Good boy. So I'm going to hit the button. He's really in the smell right here. So let's see if I can get this. If he gives me the timing. Good. Okay, that's perfect. I'm going to hit the button. Simba. Good boy. I wanted him in and he wasn't. Good boy. Good. And all I'm doing is I'm letting it go right when he starts to come to me. Remember, this is a feeling that he doesn't have any clue what this means. Good boy. Good. Good boy. Yep, you go free, hon. Simba. You go free, hon. You go potties. Good boy. Good. There you go. Good boy, Simba. Good. Yep. Yep. You go free, hon. Good boy. Simba. Good boy. Good. And right away when he turned my way, I let it go. And I'm seeing something that tells me the customer might have already got a stim collar and already might have started stumbling through this. And then usually they're not doing it right with a nice flow pattern and with consistency within what they're doing. They don't know how to grow the dog with it. There's a lot of things. Again, the tool is only as good as the person using it. I want to maximize this tool and to take a 3-dimensional tool and keep it 3-dimensional. I have sound, I have vibration, I have gas, I have brake. It's a very viable tool and a large myriad of things I can do with it. Simba, good boy, good. And right when he turned my way, I let it go. It's on a 4. That's where we already registered. That was the lowest I had. He finally registered the button. So, good boy, you go free, hon. You go free, hon. Good boy, good. And all I'm doing is saying his name and then moving away from him right when he turns my way, right? I've got to give a yell to the owner and double check and triple check, put some pressure on him, make sure he's not fibbing to me. I want to know if the dog's, he's acting like he understands it. We'll find out. Yep. All right, so we're going to do this for the first turn off. I'm going to get away from it and do a bunch of other things and then come back to it so the dog's brain is in a freed up spot, right? I don't want to just keep doing it again and again and again. I want just a little taste, so that every time I give him a little taste, he has the same association. I don't want to overdo it because it's not going to do any good. We're trying to teach and show the dog what things mean. We don't need to go overboard with it. I can go and do a bunch of other stuff, maybe go work him, and then I'll come back to this a little bit when he's freed up later on today. I'll do this 3 or 4 times today. Just trying to make sure I repetitively give him this in we're always talking in dog training, short and sweet, right? And that's what we want. We don't want to go overboard so the dog starts to sit there and be overcautious or over aware of it, right? We want this. Good boy, Simba. You're all right. Good boy. Good. I didn't hit the button at all. That was just him. Good. He's kind of being Velcro, but it's because I got the pouch on. He's wanting to get into his normal routine, which is working, right? He's a working dog. And right now he's going, his brain right away went to BALL, right? Good boy, you're all right. Good boy, you're okay. And I've done it enough times that right now he's over aware of it, right? And I want to quit. I want to go do some other things, and then catch him when he's not aware of it and he's not thinking about it. Simba, good boy, that's good. There you go. Right then was a good example. He's into sniffing the fence and doing other things, and his brain was just in the perfect spot to say, wake up, oh, what is that? And right away coming into me with something that he already knows. Remember, he knows with me. I call it a conditioned heel, and I teach that really heavy with all the dogs that start my program. Conditioned heel is one of those commands that I do a lot. That means that the dog's out on a release. When I say his name, I expect him to hit my side. So I will do rightabouts, whatever it is, to get the dog to understand that I'm going the opposite direction. The pack leader is leaving, and you've got to hit the pack leader's side, right? And I call that a conditioned heel. It's got to be done fast, efficiently. I don't want the dog sitting there just blowing me off, sniffing, and doesn't care, right? He's got to break out of whatever he's into. Good boy, Simba. All right, we're done. All right, so that's your little overview this morning of how we're starting to layer in the collar. All right, we're going to head to the park and do a little more work. I'm concentrating on, hey, no. And right away, my instincts wanted to grab the button to tell him no. I don't want him that way right now. So I've got to avoid that. I don't want him to associate this in the wrong way. We'll get to that. We're going tapping. It might come up to being a little bit of a punishment or levels that are a little more uncomfortable. But we won't do that until the dog understands it. Right? That's what we care about. Good boy. All right, Simba. You're done. All right. Mark Ferrasci, Protect Dog Training, signing off for a first overview on layering the collar with Simba. Talk to you later.